everyone, welcome back to my channel. I have my girl Dr. Nina Desai here.
Hi!
And we are starting a new series where we basically are going to tackle a topic every week or as often as we can, and we're gonna do a live on it and then follow up with a video. So we just did a live on sunscreen. Everything that you ladies need to know about sunscreen, as not only for yourself, but if you have kids and all the questions in between. So now we're gonna follow up with a comprehensive video to just kind of have all of this information live somewhere for you guys so it doesn't expire in 24 hours and then you're like, I can't view it. So anyways, let's just get straight into it. Nina, what is SPF and why is it important for us to wear?
Okay, so you really want to use the sunscreen every day. The SPF is the sun protective factor, and basically the sunscreen is going to protect you from harmful UVA and UVB rays, and that's what is going to cause not only certain types of skin cancers, but it's also going to cause fine lines, aging, laxity in your skin, pigment issues, and those of us who have skin of color, pigment is a big issue. So sunscreen can protect us against all of that. So you really want to use an SPF of at least 30. If you look at the diagram or the curve of sun protection that you're going to get from your sunscreen number, you start at 0 all the way up to 30. The curve does kind of rise pretty steeply, and then once you get to 30 it levels off a lot. So the American Academy of Dermatology and all the dermatologists that you may see at some point will recommend at least an SPF of 30.
And you brought up a fantastic point, which is that you cannot mix. So you can't have a moisturizer that says SPF 15 and then use a sunscreen that has SPF 15 in it and then
add it together and think you're getting a 30. No, it's the higher number, whatever your product is, it's the higher number, and that you want to put on first so that nothing you put on after that is going to block the absorption of that.
And that brings up a great point of order of application. I did not know this because I thought that products go on the most transparent or thin to thickest. And Nina brought up a great point.
They do. Just in general, you want to make sure you're applying your thinnest products first, followed by your thicker products. But your sunscreen, you really don't want to block the absorption of your sunscreen with very much. So if you're using like a thick sunscreen and a very light like moisturizer or a very light makeup, you still want to apply your sunscreen first so that it's going, you know, directly on your skin and your.
So I loved what she said: serums, sunscreen, moisturizer, then makeup. So just remember that little
order of operations.
Order of operations, yeah. Exactly. And then also, big thing, sunscreen is not just for your face. Make sure you do not forget your neck and your décolletage.
Exactly, and that's for your hands. Those are the areas that really tend to age us. When you see your neck and there's a lot of sun damage or sunspots or broken blood vessels, and you see the backs of your hands and the skin becomes very lax and loose, we can really help protect those sensitive areas with daily application of sunscreen.
And now a big question is, I think this covers a lot of questions that people have about I have really sensitive skin or I have acne prone skin. So this whole concept of physical versus chemical sunscreen.
Yes, so physical blockers, which are going to be your titanium and your zinc, they physically sit on the top of your skin and block the UVA and UVB rays. So that's how physical blockers work. Versus chemical sunscreens, they're the ones that are getting absorbed into your skin and working that way. So they're like oxybenzone and avobenzone. So you really want to, you know, pick the sunscreen that's right for you. And that has to do with if you have really sensitive skin. Oftentimes people who have really sensitive skin and kids, toddlers, babies, young individuals, I'll steer them towards the physical blockers because there's no chemicals added there. So the less likely to be sensitive to one of the products that you're using. But you also want to make sure you're picking the sunscreen that's right for your skin type. So if you have acne prone skin, you want to make sure you're picking a sunscreen that's oil free or says non-comedogenic on it, so it's not going to clog your pores, something that's not too thick for your skin. So you really want to pick the sunscreen that's right for your skin type, because sunscreen is honestly only as good as what you're going to use. So if you're going to spend a lot of money and buy a sunscreen that you heard was great, you really better want to use your product, because that's the most important thing.
The physical versus chemical brings up a great point as far as women of color. So you were saying that physical is sometimes the ones that are
gonna leave that like white cast or that grayish ashy film on your face, because the physical blockers are the titanium and zinc. Although now there are some nicer mineral sunscreens that do go on our skin a little bit more easy, leave a little bit less of that film, so we do have more options, but majority of the options for darker skinned individuals that are not going to give you that thick, you know, whitish, grayish cast are going to be the chemical sunscreens.
The chemical sunscreens. Now, a big question that so many women ask is, how many times should I be reapplying my sunscreen, and how do I reapply it when you already have a full face of makeup on?
So you want to reapply your sunscreen based on your activity level for that day. So if you are, you know, out only in the morning, and then you're indoors, not sitting by windows, that sort of thing, for a majority of the day, when you come out, the sun has already gone down, then you may be okay with minimal amounts of reapplication. But if you are one who, you know, put your makeup on in the morning, put your sunscreen on in the morning, and then goes out for a few hours to work and then leaves in the middle of the day or drives somewhere in the middle of the day, you really do want to reapply your sunscreen every few hours. If you're at the beach, or if you're doing like an athletic activity where you're sweating, you're gonna be losing, you know, that protection, so you really do want to reapply more frequently.
And I love the options that we have here, which the Colorescience is a mineral-based foundation. And what's great, it has SPF 30 in it, so if you already do have your foundation and full face on, this is something that is just going to deposit the color on your skin. So you can see that right there, but it's great because it's not going to interact or interfere with whatever makeup you already have on.
So this is great for reapplication. So this is a wonderful tool that you can just kind of throw in your makeup bag or your purse and just kind of reapply throughout the day. And Colorescience is wonderful. Not only do they have the mineral powder makeups, but they also have lip protection. So there's a few different shades. The lip protection is really important. As a dermatologist, I see a lot of precancers and skin cancers on the lip because it's an area oftentimes we forget to protect. So don't forget to protect your lips, and we've got some great options. Colorescience and another company called Coola make great lip protection.
And Coola I love because they have a setting spray that has SPF in it.
Yeah.
And so Nina brought up the point that that is a fantastic option for reapplication throughout the day. And for me, like, I don't necessarily want to put powder on my face, but the idea of the setting spray that has SPF in it, I'm like, I could do that, you know, just put that in my bag and reapply, especially for out. So I love that.
It's a great option.
So now this is a great question, which is going to apply to your kids. Can you use the same sunscreen that you use for yourself on your kids, and vice versa?
So that comes back to the questions of physical versus chemical sunscreens, because most of the time kids have very sensitive skin. So I always recommend, you know, on young babies, young toddlers, young kids, that you stick to a physical sunscreen as opposed to a chemical sunscreen, because their skin is very sensitive and they tend to readily absorb anything you put on their skin. So that's why I stick to the physical blockers for them. So adults can absolutely use the physical blockers as well. You just may have to spend an extra few minutes blending it in.
I loved that you recommended the Vanicream, which I use also for my son who has eczema.
Yeah.
Eczema prone skin. So this one is great.
This is one of my favorite brands for eczema prone kids and adults. It's very hypoallergenic, very gentle. It is a physical sunscreen, so there's no chemicals in there.
And I love that Nina also, this is the one that I always see in her bag. So as soon as she started using this, I was like, oh no, I'm gonna start
So Blue Lizard, it's an Australian company that has a great physical sunscreen. This is the baby, that's why it's physical, but they also have a sport and a face that have some chemical component to them as well. But the baby I love because it's not as thick and as chalky as a lot of the other titanium and zinc based sunscreens, so it goes on really easily. Even in my Indian kids, it goes on pretty easily.
Which is great. And another point, sticking with kids, that we had brought up, some people ask, like, is there an easier way to put on sunscreen, because my kids don't like to sit still and they don't like how it's so thick, and is a spray okay? This one right here, which is a roller one, which I love the idea of, because if we shouldn't be using sprays and your kids are not as good with just the creams, the deodorant or stick one is.
And this is really great for a kid to learn how to use their own sunscreen, because it's pretty easy for them to reapply. I put one in my kids' cubbies at school, and it stays there. You know, when they remember, which I'm trying to teach them to be really good about, they'll reapply. The Mineral MD Colorescience, it's like a physician grade line, so you can find it on Amazon or Derm Store, maybe at your local dermatologist's office. But Baby Ganix, which you can find at like Whole Foods and Target, they also make a sunscreen stick similar, which is very nice as well.
I think you brought up a fantastic point, which is that, you know, we have to just basically treat it like it's a daily chore for them. Something else that they do in their routine, just like they do like going to the bathroom and brushing their teeth,
brushing your hair, put your sunscreen on. It just has to become part of their daily routine, and the more you do it, the more they're going to realize that this is normal, and then they're going to build that habit going forward as an adult as well, and then pass it on to their kids as well. So it's something that I just want parents to kind of get in the habit of doing on a daily basis, and don't only reserve it for when you go to the beach or when you're on vacation. Make it part of their morning routine, even on a cloudy day, even in the winter months, so that, you know, it's protecting their skin year round.
As far as sprays go, Nina brought up some great tips, which is that if you're going to resort to sprays, always do it outdoors.
Always outdoors where there's really good ventilation, and then only for reapplication. You know, when you're inside at your home, you're doing that first coat, you want to get the sunscreen on, you're going to use obviously something that's a little like more of a lotion or a cream base, and then if you're outdoors and you need that quick reapplication, then the spray is.
And spray it on your hands first and then apply it on your body for more of for a more even application. Someone asked about pregnancy. So can you use the sunscreen that you're using regularly during pregnancy? And you brought up a great thing about anti-aging properties.
Yes, most sunscreens, yes, you can use, but now there are some sunscreens that also have some anti-aging properties to them. So you just want to be careful not to pick one that may have retin-A or retinol in them. Retin-A is prescription, so retinol is the one that would be, or retinoids would be in any of them. So
something that says vitamin A, you want to stay away from that just because that has the retinoids in it. Now what we wanted to do was go over a breakdown of some of Nina's favorites that are for every budget. So basically drugstore to department store to something that's a little bit more in office that might be more pricey and expensive but are really going to address the needs that you may have.
Kid favorites, again, they're going to be more of the physical blockers. So drugstore ones that you can find, of course, held this one up, the Vanicream for super sensitive skin, safe on all skin types, physical blocker. The other one I like is the Neutrogena, the Sheer Zinc. This is just a zinc-based sunscreen. Again, it's going to be your physical blocker, chemical-free, safe for all skin types. And then the Blue Lizard, you can not really usually find that in a drugstore, but you can find it on Amazon, or a lot of dermatologist offices carry it. Derm Store online carries it. They also have a face and a sport for adults as well. The question I get is the daily sunscreen. I get asked pretty much every day is, what daily sunscreen can I use at the drugstore? And these are two of my favorites. First is the CeraVe. The CeraVe AM is an SPF 30. It's a hypoallergenic sunscreen, so it's great for sensitive skin. CeraVe is also really great for dry skin as well, so that's why I really like it. And it's oil-free, so it's not going to clog your pores, so it's great for acne-prone skin. So it's an all-over wonderful option for all skin types.
And other one, that's physical, correct? CeraVe is physical.
That's actually a chemical sunscreen.
Oh, it is? Okay. Yeah. Interesting. Okay, sorry, so I keep getting confused. Physical is the one that's going to be a little bit more white and ashy because it sits on your skin. Okay, got it.
And then we've got the Aveeno, the Positively Radiant. Has always been a favorite of mine, and there's this is an SPF 30, so you've got your 30 coverage there, and it's really light. This also has the soy complex in it, which is great for some hyperpigmentation that you may have on your skin, so it helps also to kind of fade and treat that dyspigmentation that you might have, so this is a wonderful option as well. This one actually is a physical blocker, not a chemical blocker, so a little bit more of that whitish tinge, but you know,
if you have sensitive skin.
If you have sensitive skin, it's a great option for every day.
Someone during the live brought up a great question about women of color, which I think we addressed a little bit of, which is that the physical sunscreens are going to be a little bit more white or leave that white ashy residue. But if you just work at it and massage it in a little bit more, you're going to get the benefits.
Yeah, and now there's a newer generation of more of the clear, gel, transparent sunscreens that are like wonderful for skin of color. So the Supergoop Unseen is a wonderful option for skin of color because it's more of the transparent. The Glossier is wonderful because it's more of a transparent light moisturizer. This one still has a little bit of a whitish tinge to it, but it's very nice and very light, but it's
called the Clear.
It's called the Clear. It's the Elta MD Clear, and it's great for all skin types. Again, acne-prone skin, and it's very light. And this is one of my favorites if you know you're going to be wearing some makeup over it, because it definitely leaves your skin kind of even and silky after applying it. So that's definitely one of my favorites, the Elta MD. And that's more of a physician grade line. The other one that I absolutely love that's also more of a physician grade line is Alastin. The Alastin Mineral Sunscreen, or the Pro Mineral Sunscreen, is a tinted sunscreen that's chemical free, and actually the tint is wonderful for skin of color. And it goes on really light and easy to reapply. So if you really want something that you can use by itself, even without a makeup, this is a great one.
Yeah, this is great because I mean it like matches me really nicely, and sometimes even the tinted moisturizers, I'm like, it's not working for me.
Right.
But that brings up a good question too about makeup that has SPF in it. As long as the makeup has an SPF of 30, we're good to go.
Yeah.
So you can use that alone. Okay. Or do you recommend also using a different sunscreen underneath?
Basically, you want to make sure you just got that.
Okay. Someone brought up a great question as far as she has sensitive skin. She's in her mid-30s. Is it something that she should be using with maybe a little bit more of the anti-aging properties that we were talking about?
Yeah, for sure. You know, the sunscreens that have some anti-aging properties to them, they are going to be a little bit more expensive. Some of them tend to have antioxidants and peptides mixed in there, so you're getting some, you know, defense against free radical formation and pigment and wonderful things that we do need. So they are going to be a little bit more expensive. So yes, you can definitely start using that in your 30s for sure. In-office brands or physician grade lines, I should say. Elta MD is definitely one of my favorites. So the Elta MD has a whole slew of different sunscreens that are great for all different types of skin. So the Clear is great for sensitive skin or acne prone skin. The Daily is great for more mature skin or dry skin. There's a Sport that's great for, you know, the person who's gonna be very active and sweating. There is a lotion for your body, so it's really nice and easy and light to apply. The spray, the Elta MD spray, is also one of my favorites.
For reapplication.
For reapplication outdoors, it's wonderful. So this product line just has a lot, it covers a lot.
So I think we covered a lot of ground here today. I think the biggest takeaways were that we are understanding what physical versus chemical sunscreens are, also giving some really great options for a drugstore as well as higher priced products, and then some that are good for you as well as your children if you have them, and also just basically why it's important to be wearing sunscreen.
Just to bring home the point that it's super important to just get in the habit of doing it every day, make it part of your routine and your kids' routine, so that, you know, it's in the end not a big deal.
And also, I mean, I think for both of us, we talk about this a lot. You also start noticing a lot more of sun damage later on in life.
Absolutely.
So that's when you can see, you know, in your mid-30s, you start seeing sunspots and things like that.
The fine lines forming, absolutely. So the sun damage that you notice on your skin is not from sun that you got last week or last month. It's cumulative. It builds up over time. So the sooner you start, you know, getting in that habit, the better off you're going to be long term.
So that's about it for today, but what we really want you to do, we want to keep this conversation going. So if there's something that we didn't cover right now, we have the comments section below, which we are absolutely going to read through and make sure we're addressing all the questions that you do have. So if you do have any questions, be sure to list them below and we will answer them back. And don't forget to follow Dr. Nina Desai on Instagram. She has some amazing insight and just information daily. It's like her daily dose of derm. We're really excited about just starting this and kind of giving information to you ladies on a weekly basis, stuff that we really find important and probably questions we get asked so much. And it's so funny because when I get asked questions about makeup, a lot of them tend to have skincare related stuff in it. I'm like, well, let me ask Nina because she's the professional. So, you know, I think it's just a good pairing. And yeah, that's about it. So we hope you guys enjoyed this video. Be sure to share, like, and subscribe, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.